Sana. I'm the authoress in distress, and this week we are going to be talking about my July wrap-up and my August TBR. I've never done this on my channel before, and I also have a new ring light, so we're doing all new things this week. You let me know if you like this kind of video and how my ring light looks. And now, without further ado, let's dive right into it. So first we're going to start with my July wrap-up. I read 2 books in July, but I'm also going to include in my wrap-up a book that I read a few days ago at the beginning of August, because why not? I read it. Let's talk about it. I finished Serpent and Dove on August 1st. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. It was so fun for me to read. I enjoyed every second of it. There were only a few small things, like a little bit of misogyny that I just wasn't a fan of, but it was kind of based in historical fantasy, so I'm willing to forgive it a little bit because I was purely entertained. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin is a YA enemies to lovers romance where a witch has to marry a witch hunter, and he doesn't know that she's a witch, and it is a whole big thing, and I loved it. I loved the oath of a main love interest. I loved the female main character. She was snarky and everything I want in my YA main characters, and I really enjoyed reading it. It was a ton of fun. There were a few great one-liners that I thoroughly enjoyed reading, and yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with the book, and that's why I give it 5 out of 5 stars. The second book I read in August. The second book I read in July, I think I said August before too, whoops. In July was The Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked the characterization of the characters. The author did a really good job building them up and making them really believable in the situation they were in. I really put off reading this book because I heard that it was a female version of Lord of the Flies, which, no. Lord of the Flies works because it's little boys. That's why it works. Women behave differently in social settings, so I was really nervous about reading it, but I really did enjoy this book a lot. I really liked the gore in it. Rory Power was very good at portraying that and getting it across, and it was just gross, and I loved it till the very end. And I think the ending of the book is what made me drop it down from a 4.5 to a 3.5, because I really didn't like the way it ended. I really didn't like the twist of what was causing the illness, and I just wasn't a fan of that whole thing. Yeah, so 3.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a bad read. It wasn't one of my new favorites, but I enjoyed it. It had some lesbian representation, which I'm always about. It's a good book, and if you like horror, then I recommend that you pick it up just to see what everybody's talking about. Next, I read Something to Talk About by Meryl Winstead. This book, I read it in one night. I couldn't put it down no matter how hard I tried. I really loved the reading experience. It gave you Hollywood vibes. I should probably tell you what it's about. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is about a Hollywood actress turned screenwriter. She works in TV, and then her assistant, and there's a rumor that started that they are dating because something happens, and it's them maneuvering through that, and then as they're doing that over the course of a year, they figure out that they might actually have feelings for each other, and it's really cute. It's a lesbian romance, and you get to see the Hollywood behind the scenes glam, and we're here for it, and it kind of has a little bit of that Me Too stuff in there as well, so you get to see that part of it. And overall, it was a pretty good read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because it relies heavily on the miscommunication trope, which is one of the tropes I despise most in fiction. I hate it when characters just won't communicate. It is so frustrating for me. So one of the biggest frustrations I had with this book was that it relies really heavily on that trope for conflict, and I wish it didn't. and it really knocked down my experience from 5 to 4 stars. But I really did like the way it was written. It's very simple. I like a clean writing style. Don't think I'm really into like hugely flowery prose most of the time. It takes a lot of my mental capacity to care when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I like a straightforward story, and especially in my romance, and I really did enjoy it. So 4.5 or 4 out of 5 stars for something to talk about. Now let's get into my August TBR, to be read. Books I hope I can read, but will probably disappoint myself about. Alright, so I'm going to start with the 2 books that I am definitely going to read this month because I am so excited about it. I'm already halfway through the first one, and they are these bad boys. I have Gideon the 9th and Harrow the 9th, and I am so excited that I finally have Harrow. It came out, I think, on the 4th, but I actually ended up going to the bookstore last time I filmed, which is about a week or so ago, a week before it came out, and Barnes & Noble made a mistake and put it out a whole week early, so I got to buy a copy. So I started rereading. As soon as I got this one, I started rereading Gideon, which is one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. I love Gideon the 9th so much, and I was so excited to get Harrow in my hands, and my little raccoon hands. I only say raccoon because it's my little bookmark is a raccoon. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Do you see her? Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be rereading Gideon the 9th so I can refresh on it because I haven't read it since I got it when it came out, and then Harrow the 9th right afterwards. And then I'm just going to be on pins and needles until she comes out with Electo, and I'm so excited about it. So those are going to be the 2 I start with, and the 2 that I'm mainly focusing on, and also my only 2 paper books that I'm going to be reading this month from my TBR. I could always pick up a different one, but I'm a mood reader. Who really knows what's going to happen? Oh, anyway, Gideon the 9th is about lesbian necromancers who have to participate in a necromancy competition set in a space castle. There's something for everyone, and everyone should pick it up forever because it's so good. And I'm so excited. Like, look at how pretty these covers are. Y'all, I'm dying. I cannot wait to read this. Oh, okay. Okay, the next book that I'm going to be reading is called The Lady's Honor, and it's by Renee, Dahlia. I got this book on recommendation from somebody. I don't remember what it is, but it is a historical lesbian romance. I'm in a romance mood. Despite my excitement about Harrow and Gideon, I'm really in a romance mood. So I am going to be reading a lot of romance this month, and I got a ton. I basically hauled a bunch of LGBT romance books, and I'm really excited about them. The cheesier, the better. I'm here for it. So I'm starting with My Lady's Honor, or The Lady's Honor by Renee, Dahlia, and I think it's a post-World War I book about a girl or a woman who is going to return a horse to this estate. I don't even know why she has the horse. I tried to go into my books pretty blind, so sorry if I'm entirely off, but I will be doing a wrap-up video next month about these books if I read them, so I'll have a better idea of what they're about then, hopefully. Anyway, she has to return this horse to this estate where she borrowed it from, or her husband borrowed it from, and she ends up falling in love with the man who owns the estate's daughter. And there are horses in it, and I love horses. And lesbians. So the next book I bought was Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall, and I literally don't know anything about this book. All I know is that it is recommended to people who love red, white, and royal blue, and I really love the cover. From the cover, I can tell it's set in London, and it's probably a bad boy meets a prep, and I love that. I look forward to picking it up. Next one I'm picking up is The Falling in Love Montage by Ciara Smyth. I have this on my Nook. All of these other books that I don't have in my hands are all on my Nook, so sorry about that. All of the books will be linked down in the description, or will be listed down in the description if you want to go check them out. I'll have all their names and authors down there. But yeah, so Falling in Love Montage is a rom-com YA romance between two women, and I think it takes place over the course of a day at a carnival, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Again, I like to go into my books pretty blind, but I had to pick it up. If you look at the cover of this book, you'll know, like, it's everything to me. I just need to read it so bad. I was waiting for it to come to my library, but it was gonna be like 21 weeks before I got to read it, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm gonna splurge and I'm gonna buy it. So I did, and I'm excited about it. My last book that's on my TBR for this month is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Cristo. I threw this in here because I'm kind of in the mood for an enemies to lovers romance, and I am really in the mood for a mermaid book, and this one is about a siren queen who falls in love with a siren hunter prince. And like, sounds a lot like Serpent and Dove, which I'm okay with, but it's enemies to lovers, it's spite and a political intrigue, I'm hoping, and mermaids. I love a mermaid, and I love a spiteful, ambitious queen, and it's enemies to lovers, and I love it. So I'm hoping that it will be everything that I want it to be, because I have high, high hopes. But yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I'm in the mood for mermaids. I'm never not in the mood for mermaids. I'm that person. I've always been obsessed with mermaids. But anyway, so that is my July reading wrap up and my August TBR. If you've read any of these books, or you're interested in talking to me about any of them, or if you have any questions, comments, concerns, debates, fears, anxieties, bad stuff, issues, complaints, irritations, leave them down there in the comments and we'll talk about it. I am Sana, I'm the authoress in distress. Thank you for sticking with me on this video. I hope to do more like this in the future. Happy reading to all of you, happy writing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!